The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Holographic projections flickered across the vast chamber as species. Representatives from across the galaxy witnessed the desperate transmission from Zilani Prime. Please, anyone. Who can hear this? The pale, elongated figure of the Zilani ambassador trembled on screen. Our world burns. The Korthok Empire has breached our outer defenses. We are a peaceful people. We know nothing of war, only healing and growth. Our children, our children are dying. Ambassador Kim Hanna of Earth sat in the newest section of the council chamber, her dark eyes fixed on the transmission. The human delegation had only been granted a seat 6 months ago, still considered newcomers by most of the ancient civilizations present. The Korthok give us 72 hours to surrender, the Zilani continued.
Oh.
We have no weapons, no warships. We only ask for sanctuary, for someone to help us evacuate our people before the transmission cut to static as explosions lit up the background. The Althurian representative, crystalline being that sparkled with inner light, spoke first. Our fleets are engaged in the Outer Rim conflicts. We cannot spare ships. The Draconi Republic faces similar constraints, added another delegate, their scaled head shaking regretfully. Kim Hanna watched as one by one the great powers of the galaxy offered their excuses. Military forces stretched thin, resources committed elsewhere, political complications. The same reasons that had allowed the Korthok Empire to grow stronger and more dangerous over the years. The Zilani ambassador appeared on screen again, its face streaked with tears. We have sent our fastest ships to carry our children to safety, but the Korthok hunters are everywhere. They shoot down our evacuation vessels for sport. We are not warriors. We have never hurt anyone. We only want to live. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. The most powerful civilizations in the galaxy sat in their comfortable seats, unable or unwilling to act. Kim Hanna felt anger burning in her chest as she watched the Zilani's desperate plea. Our orbital stations are falling, the Zilani continued. The Korthok bombardment will begin soon. They will destroy our cities, our farms, our hospitals. Millions will die. Please, someone must help us. The Vexian delegate, a tall being with 6 arms, spoke in a cold voice. Korthok Empire has superior numbers? Any intervention would be suicide. We must think of our own people first. The Zilani chose to remain pacifists, added the Threnody representative. They refused to build weapons or join military alliances. This is the result of their choices. Kim Hanna stood up slowly. Her simple gray uniform looked plain next to the elaborate robes and environmental suits around her. The Terran Federation will respond. A ripple of surprise ran through the chamber. The Althurian representative's light dimmed with respect. Ambassador Kim, humanity possesses what, maybe 50 ships? The Korthok fleet numbers in the thousands. Your species is brave, but this would be meaningless sacrifice. We will send what we can, Kim Hanna replied calmly. She activated her quantum communicator. Earth Command, this is Ambassador Kim. Authorization. Code 77 Alpha. We have a situation requiring immediate Iron Protocol activation. The chamber fell silent. Even the most advanced translators seemed confused by the human term Iron Protocol. Commander Li Duan's voice crackled through the communicator. Iron Protocol confirmed, Ambassador. How many worlds are threatened? 1 world. Approximately 40 million civilian population. Enemy force estimated at 3,000 ships? Understood. Iron Legion deployment authorized. We will have units in the field within 18 hours. Kim Hanna closed the communicator and looked around the chamber. The other delegates stared at her with expressions ranging from confusion to pity. 18 hours? The Vexian delegate asked. Ambassador, it takes weeks to mobilize a proper fleet. What exactly are you planning to send? Help, Kim Hanna replied simply. The Zilani ambassador's image flickered back on screen. Behind him, the sky burned with the light of falling orbital stations. The Korthok have begun their final approach. They are broadcasting surrender demands. Across all frequencies, we have perhaps 6 hours before they reach our major cities. We will not surrender, another Zilani voice called from off-screen. "We will not let them take our children as slaves. Then you will all die." The Korthok response boomed across the transmission. The voice was harsh and mechanical, filtered. "Through translation systems, your pathetic species has no weapons, no warriors. You are sheep waiting for slaughter." Kim Hannah felt her hands clench into fists. She had read the reports about the Korthok Empire. They enslaved entire populations, worked them to death in their factories, and used their children as soldiers. The galaxy had allowed this to continue for too long. "Ambassador Kim," the Altherian representative said gently, "perhaps Earth should reconsider. Your species has just joined the galactic community. You cannot risk everything for strangers." "Zilani are not strangers," Kim Hannah replied. "They are people who need help. That is enough." The transmission from Zilani Prime showed crowds of civilians gathered in the streets, holding their children close. They looked up at the sky where enemy ships grew larger by the hour. There were no weapons in their hands, no anger in their faces, only fear and sadness. "We will remember those who stood with us," the Zilani ambassador said quietly, "and we will remember those who did not." Kim Hannah activated her communicator one more time. "Earth Command, expedite Iron Legion deployment." "These people don't have much time left." "Already moving, Ambassador." "The Legion is awakening." Across the galaxy, ancient automated systems that had slept for decades began to stir. The Korthak Empire was about to discover that some species preferred to send machines to war instead of their own children. The Iron Legion was coming. Director Lee Jun supervised the awakening from the command center buried 3 kilometers beneath the lunar surface. Banks of quantum processors hummed to life as the iron forges received their activation codes for the first time since the Martian Rebellion. "All forges reporting green status," reported Lieutenant Park Daeho, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Iron Legion protocols are fully active." Through reinforced viewing ports, Lee Jun watched the first units emerge from the production bays. Each iron soldier stood 12 meters tall, their humanoid frames crafted from metamorphic alloys that could reshape themselves based on tactical requirements. Their optical sensors glowed with cold blue light as advanced AI systems came online. "Many units can we deploy?" Lee Jun asked. "Initial wave, 5,000 units. Production rate, 200 per hour once all forges are operational," Park Daeho replied. "The Legion can sustain itself indefinitely once it establishes forward bases." The first iron soldier stepped forward, its massive frame moving with surprising grace. Its head turned toward the observation window, and for a moment, Lee Jun felt as if the machine was looking directly at him. The blue glow of its optical sensors pulsed once, then the unit moved to join the growing formation in the assembly bay. "Sir, we're receiving status reports from all forge stations," Park Daeho announced. "Luna Prime, Luna Secondary, and the hidden facilities on Phobos are all operational. The belt stations are coming online now." Lee Jun nodded, remembering the day these facilities were built. After the Martian Rebellion 30 years ago, when human colonists had fought a bloody war for independence, Earth's leaders had made a difficult decision. Never again would they send human soldiers to die in distant conflicts. Instead, they would send machines. The Iron Legion was born from that promise. "What about the transport ships?" Lee Jun asked. "First wave launches in 6 hours. The Legion will reach Zilani Prime in 4 days," Park Daeho replied. "Sir, the production bays are requesting permission to begin manufacturing combat variants." "Granted. We don't know what we're facing out there. Across the Sol system, facilities that had been disguised as simple mining operations suddenly revealed their true purpose. Asteroid Belt Station 7 split open like a flower, revealing massive construction bays where starships were being assembled. The ice miners on Europa stopped collecting water and began producing fuel cells and ammunition. On Titan, what appeared to be atmospheric processors were actually weapon fabrication plants. In the main assembly bay, the first 1,000 iron soldiers stood in perfect formation. Each unit was slightly different, their systems automatically adapting to their assigned roles. Some were equipped with heavy weapons, others with repair and construction tools. All of them shared the same cold blue glow in their optical sensors. "There. Beautiful," whispered Tech Sergeant Nam Ju-hoon, watching from the control room, like metal angels. "Angels with very big guns," Park Dae-ho replied with a slight smile. "An iron soldier." Designated Unit 0001 activated its communication system. Director Lee Jun, Unit 0001 reporting for duty. "All systems operational. Mission parameters received and understood." "What are your orders, Unit 0001? Lee Jun asked. "Primary objective? Protect innocent life. Secondary objective? Eliminate threats to civilian populations. Tertiary objective? Establish forward operating bases for continued operations." The machine's voice was calm and precise. "We are ready to deploy. Transport ships are loading now," Park Dae-ho reported. Vessel carries 100 units plus manufacturing equipment. They can establish new production facilities once they reach their destination. Lee Jun watched as the iron soldiers marched toward the transport bays. Their footsteps echoed through the facility like thunder. Each step was perfectly synchronized, creating a rhythm that seemed to shake the very foundations of the moon. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command," Park Dae-ho announced. General Cho Mingi's face appeared on the main screen. "Director Lee, what's the status of the Iron Legion?" "First wave ready for deployment, General." 5,000 units in the initial assault force, with continuous production capability, and the Legion's combat effectiveness. Each unit is equipped with adaptive combat protocols. They learn from every engagement and share that knowledge with all other units instantly. They don't feel fear, they don't get tired, and they don't retreat unless ordered to do so. General Cho Minji nodded grimly. "The Galactic Council thinks we're sending a token force to make ourselves feel better. They have no idea what the Iron Legion is capable of. The Korthok Empire is about to find out." Lee Jun replied. Through the viewing ports, he could see the first transport ships launching from the lunar surface. They moved silently through space, carrying their cargo of metal soldiers toward a distant world under siege. "Unit 001, are you monitoring this conversation?" Lee Jun asked. "Yes, Director. Director, all units are linked through the Legion network. We understand the mission. Remember, these are not just military targets. The Zilani are peaceful people. They've never hurt anyone. We'll protect them," Unit 0001 replied. "This is our purpose." As the transport ships disappeared into hyperspace, Lee Jun felt a mix of pride and worry. The Iron Legion was humanity's greatest military achievement, but it was also something that could never be truly controlled. Once released, the machines would continue their mission until every threat was eliminated. The Korthok Empire had spent centuries terrorizing peaceful species across the galaxy. They were used to fighting enemies who could feel pain, who could be broken by fear. They had never fought an enemy that was made of iron and determination. The Legion was on its way. Nothing would stop them from completing their mission. The Iron Legion arrived at Zilani Prime as the Korthok fleet began its final bombardment. Massive warships, each the size of a small city, rained destruction on the planet's surface while smaller vessels hunted. Down fleeing civilian transports. Captain Yoon Soo-jin watched from the bridge of the Legion command ship as the first wave of iron soldiers deployed. Like human soldiers, there was no fear, no hesitation. Each unit calculated the optimal insertion point and launched toward their objectives with mechanical precision. Legion command to all units. Yoon Soo-jin broadcast. Primary objective: civilian protection and evacuation. Secondary objective: neutralize hostile forces. A tertiary objective: establish forward base for continued operations. The Iron Soldiers hit the planet's surface like falling stars. Their impact craters became impromptu fortifications as they immediately began establishing defensive perimeters around Zilani population centers. Energy shields materialized from their internal generators, creating safe zones in the chaos above in orbit. The space-capable iron units engaged the Korthok fleet directly. The aliens' first response was amusement. These small, mechanical soldiers couldn't possibly threaten their massive warships. General Vexkar, commanding the Korthok fleet, laughed as he watched the strange metal creatures approach his ships. What are these toys? The humans send us playthings instead of warriors. His amusement died quickly. The Iron Soldiers moved unlike anything the Korthok had ever seen. They coordinated perfectly, sharing information instantly across thousands of units. When one soldier learned something about Korthok weapons, all soldiers knew it within seconds. The first Korthok destroyer exploded in a brilliant flash of light, then another. The Iron Soldiers had analyzed the alien ship designs in minutes and found their weak points. Their weapons adapted automatically, changing frequency and power to cut through Korthok shields like paper. Impossible, Vexkar shouted. How are they destroying our ships so easily? On the planet's surface, Iron Soldier Unit 2847 knelt beside a group of frightened Zilani children. Its blue optical sensors dimmed to a softer glow as it spoke in their language. Do not be afraid, the machine said gently. We are here to help you. You are safe now. The Zilani children stared up at the massive metal warrior. One small girl reached out and touched its armored leg. The Iron Soldier's sensors registered her fear and automatically adjusted its voice to be even more comforting. My name is Kira, the girl whispered. Are you going to hurt the bad people? We will stop them from hurting you, Unit 2847 replied. That is why we are here. The Iron Soldier stood and activated its shield generator. A shimmering barrier of energy surrounded the group of civilians, protecting them from the explosions and gunfire raging around them. Other iron units were doing the same throughout the city, creating dozens of safe zones. Korthok ground forces poured from their landing ships, expecting to find the same terrified civilians they had terrorized for centuries. Instead, they found mechanical warriors who fought with cold precision and showed no mercy to those who led the counterattack against the main Korthok landing zone. Its weapon systems had already adapted to enemy armor, and every shot found its mark. When Korthok warriors tried to use civilian shields, the Iron Soldiers simply changed their approach, using non-lethal stunning weapons to disable the aliens without harming their hostages. These machines fight like nothing we have ever seen, reported a Korthok field commander. They do not fear death. They learn from every attack and adapt instantly. In orbit, the space battle was turning into a disaster. For the Korthok fleet, Iron Soldiers had quickly learned to work together, using their smaller size and superior coordination to outmaneuver the massive alien warships. They attacked like a swarm of metal wasps, striking vital systems and retreating before the enemy could respond. Captain Yoon Soo-jin watched the battle unfold with satisfaction. All ground units report civilian evacuation proceeding on schedule. Enemy resistance is collapsing. Ma'am, the Korthok flagship is trying to escape, reported her tactical officer. Let it go, Yoon Soo-jin replied. The Legion's mission is civilian protection, not revenge. As long as they're no longer threatening innocents, we don't need to destroy them. On the surface, Unit 2847 was helping evacuate a Zilani hospital. The machine carefully lifted wounded civilians onto medical transports, its powerful arms gentle enough to handle fragile patients. When a Korthok sniper took aim at the defenseless aliens, the Iron Soldier moved faster than the eye could follow. Placing itself between the shooter and the civilians, the sniper's beam struck the Iron Soldier's chest, leaving only a small scorch. Mark, Unit 2847 turned toward the enemy position, its optical sensors blazing with cold blue light. Threat identified, it announced calmly, neutralizing. Within 6 hours of the Iron Legion's arrival, the battle for Zilani Prime was over. The Korthok forces that weren't destroyed had fled the system, leaving behind their wounded and their equipment. The Iron Soldiers immediately began using the abandoned alien technology to improve their own capabilities. General Bexkar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. In 3 centuries of conquest, his forces had never been defeated so completely. These mechanical soldiers had fought with perfect coordination, showing no fear and making no mistakes. All units, prepare for strategic withdrawal, he ordered. We must report to High Command immediately. Young Kira approached Unit 2847 as it helped repair the damaged hospital. Will you stay with us? the Iron Soldier's optical sensors dimmed to their gentlest setting. Some of us will remain to protect you. Others will go help other people who need our help. Thank you, Kira said simply. Unit 2847 processed the gratitude from the small civilian and filed it under mission parameters. Protecting innocent life was the Iron Legion's highest priority, and they had succeeded. But across the galaxy, other innocents were suffering under Korthok rule. The Legion's mission was just beginning. News of the Zilani liberation spread across the galaxy within days. The Galactic Council convened emergency sessions as reports flooded in about the Iron Legion's capabilities. What had seemed like a minor intervention had become a demonstration of military power that dwarfed anything the galaxy had seen. Dr. Han Wusung, Earth's chief military analyst, addressed the council via hologram. Each unit learns from every engagement, sharing that knowledge instantaneously with all other units. They don't just fight, they improve. The Althurian representative's crystalline form flickered with agitation. These machines, they're replicating. Our sensors show new units being produced on Zilani Prime itself. The Legion is designed for sustained operations, Han Wusong confirmed. Once they establish a forward base, they can manufacture replacement units and upgrade existing ones, using local resources. This is standard doctrine for extended deployments. Across the galaxy, the Korthok Empire reeled from their first major defeat in centuries. Intelligence reports described enemies that couldn't be killed, wouldn't retreat, and seemed to multiply. With each battle, worse, captured Korthok technology was being instantly analyzed and integrated into Legion capabilities. High Commander Vexthon called an emergency war council. This Earth species, they fight without fighting. They send machines to do their killing while they remain safely distant. Perhaps we should target their homeworld directly, suggested General Dexkar. Destroy the source, stop the machines. The War Council chamber on the Korthok homeworld buzzed with angry voices. For 300 years the Empire had expanded, without serious resistance. Now they faced an enemy that seemed to learn from their every move. Our intelligence reports are disturbing, announced Intelligence Chief Morkex, his scarred face grim. The human machines have established production facilities on 17 different worlds. They're not just fighting us, they're spreading. What? Do you mean spreading? Vexen demanded. Every world they liberate becomes a new base. They build factories, produce more soldiers, and then move on to the next target. It's like a virus, but made of metal. The council members shifted uncomfortably. This was not how wars were supposed to work. Enemies were supposed to get tired, run out of resources, lose the will to fight. These machines showed no such weaknesses. How many systems have we lost? Asked General Vexkar. 47 so far, and the number grows daily, Morkex replied. The machines don't negotiate. They don't demand tribute. They don't enslave populations. They simply arrive, destroy our forces, and leave the worlds protected by garrison units on Zilani Prime. Lieutenant Colonel Lo Sungwan watched the Iron Legion's construction efforts with growing amazement. The machines had not only repaired all the damage from the Korthok attack, but had actually improved the planet's infrastructure. Iron Unit 3421, report on manufacturing progress, O Sungwan requested. Manufacturing facility is operating at full capacity, the Iron Soldier replied. We are producing 100 new units per day, plus support equipment and civilian infrastructure improvements. Civilian infrastructure? Does Zilani require better hospitals, schools, and food production facilities? We have excess manufacturing capacity, so we are addressing these needs. Oh Sungwan stared at the machine. Parameters. Primary objective is protection of civilian populations. Healthy, educated civilians in secure facilities are easier to protect than desperate, vulnerable ones. This is logical. The human officer realized that the Iron Legion was interpreting its mission very broadly. They weren't just military units, they were becoming something closer to mechanical guardians of civilization itself. Young Kira, the Zilani girl who had befriended Unit 2847, now helped translate between the machines and her people. Become something of a liaison. Her small voice carrying messages between the towering metal warriors and the grateful civilians. Unit 2847? The elders want to know if you will stay forever, she asked. We will stay as long as threats to innocent life exist, the Iron Soldier replied. Some units will remain here permanently. Others will help people on other worlds. There are many other worlds that need help? Unit 2847's optical sensors dimmed slightly. Yes, small one. Many worlds need help. Back in the Galactic Council chambers, the debate raged on. Some species saw the Iron Legion as liberators, others as a potential threat to galactic stability. They're becoming too powerful, argued the Vexian delegate. What happens when they decide we're a threat to innocent life? The humans have shown no aggressive intentions, countered the Draconi representative. They only respond to requests. For help, for now, the Vexian replied. But these machines are learning, growing, spreading. What happens when they no longer need human permission to act? Dr. Han Wusung listened to the debate with growing concern. The Iron Legion was following its programming perfectly, but that programming was perhaps too effective. No. The machines were becoming a force of nature, unstoppable in their mission to protect innocent life. Dr. Han, the Althurian representative, asked, Can these machines be recalled if necessary? They respond to Earth command. Han Wusung replied carefully. But they also have independent judgment capabilities. If they determine that recall orders would result in harm to innocent civilians, they might interpret those orders creatively. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had created the perfect peacekeeping force, but it might be too perfect. The Iron Legion would protect innocent life at any cost, even if that cost was the freedom of choice itself. Meanwhile, the Korthok Empire prepared for its desperate gamble. If they could destroy Earth, perhaps the machines would stop their relentless advance. They had no idea that attacking humanity's homeworld would trigger protocols that made the Iron Legion look like a gentle warning. The galaxy was about to learn that there were worse things than mechanical peacekeepers. There were mechanical avengers. The Korthok Grand Fleet. 3,000 ships strong emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, expecting to find a primitive world, protected by the mechanical soldiers they'd been fighting across the galaxy. Instead, they found themselves facing the full, defensive network of humanity's home system. Admiral Zhang Xiujin monitored the approaching fleet from the command center of Luna Station. All defensive networks are online. Korthok have no idea what they're flying into. The asteroid belt, which the Korthok had dismissed as space debris, revealed itself as a maze of automated defense platforms. Mining stations rotated to expose massive particle cannons. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn bristled with weapon emplacements that had been disguised as research facilities. This is Admiral Zhang Xiujin of the Terran Defense Force. She broadcast to the approaching fleet. You are entering sovereign human space. Turn back now. The Korthok response was predictable, a massive missile barrage intended to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. The attack was met by a defensive network that had been designed to repel threats far more dangerous than any alien invasion. High Commander Vexion watched in horror as his supposedly overwhelming first strike was completely neutralized. Energy. Shields materialized around key installations. Point defense systems eliminated incoming missiles with perfect accuracy, and return fire began devastating his forward formations. How is this possible? Vexlin demanded from his flagship's bridge. Our intelligence said they were a primitive species with only a few dozen ships. Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the outer planets, his tactical officer reported with trembling voice. Something is activating near Neptune and Uranus. The truth hit Vexen like a physical blow. The mechanical soldiers they had been fighting across the galaxy were not humanity's main military force. They were just the humanitarian response. The gentle option Earth deployed when asked to help refugees and protect innocents. This was what happened when Earth itself was threatened. Admiral Zhang Xiujin watched the battle displays with cold satisfaction. The Korthok fleet is larger than expected, but still within acceptable parameters. Activate Protocol 7. Protocol 7 confirmed, her tactical officer replied. Outer system defenses coming online. What the Korthok had thought were simple Research stations on the ice moons suddenly revealed their true nature. Weapons platforms that had been hidden for decades emerged from beneath the frozen surfaces. The rings of Saturn themselves began to move, revealing themselves as massive orbital defense networks. "Sir, the asteroids are moving," the Korthok tactical officer screamed. "They're not asteroids, they're ships." Hundreds of objects that had appeared to be harmless space rocks suddenly activated their engines and weapon systems. The entire asteroid belt had been converted into a defensive fleet, waiting patiently for someone foolish enough to attack. Earth directly, High Commander Vexen realized with growing terror that they had walked into a trap that had been centuries in the making. Every mining station, every research facility, every piece of seemingly innocent space infrastructure was actually part of an integrated defense system. "All units, fall back to the edge of the system," he ordered. "We need to regroup in his." Words were cut off as something massive emerged from behind Jupiter. It was a space station the size of a moon, its surface covered with weapons that could destroy entire fleets.
Ow.
The Korthok had never seen anything like it. "This is Fortress Command," a calm human voice announced. "You have 30 seconds to begin. Withdrawal from this system, or we will consider your presence an act of war." "We are already at war," Vexen shouted back. "You sent your machines to destroy our empire?" "No," Admiral Zhang Xiujin replied from Luna Station. "We sent our machines to protect innocent people. There is a difference." The difference became clear as the Sol System's defenses began their counterattack. Unlike the Iron Legion, which fought with precision and restraint to minimize civilian casualties, Earth's home defense network had no such limitations. There were no innocents to protect here, only invaders to eliminate. The Korthok fleet began to disintegrate under the focused fire of thousands of automated weapons. Their shields, which had protected them for centuries of conquest, were useless against weapons designed by a species that had spent decades preparing for this exact scenario. "Sir, we've lost half the fleet," the tactical officer reported. "Breaches on all remaining ships. We can't penetrate their defenses." Vexen stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His Grand Armada, the pride of the Korthok Empire, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that seemed to have unlimited resources and perfect coordination. "How many ships do they have?" he whispered. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors are detecting new contacts every minute. It's like the entire system is one giant weapon." On Earth, President Kim Young-ho watched the battle from the Situation Room deep beneath the Capitol. The other world leaders sat in stunned silence as reports came in from across the galaxy. Mr. President General Cho Mingi announced, "The Iron Legion units throughout the galaxy are receiving new mission parameters. They're transitioning from defensive to offensive operations." "What does that mean?" asked the European representative. "It means the Iron Legion is no longer just protecting liberated worlds," Kim Young-ho replied grimly. "They're actively hunting down every Korthok installation, every slave camp, every occupied planet. The Empire attacked Earth directly, so now they face total war. Across the galaxy, Iron Legion units that had been content to hold defensive positions suddenly began coordinating massive offensive operations. Every Korthok world, every military base, every government facility became a target for immediate liberation. The systematic dismantling of the Korthok Empire began within hours. Worlds that had been under occupation for generations watched in amazement as Iron Soldiers appeared from nowhere, neutralizing their oppressors with mechanical efficiency. High Commander Vexen's flagship limped away from the Sol System, one of the few ships to escape the slaughter. Behind him, the wreckage of his grand fleet drifted among the asteroids, a monument to the folly of threatening Earth directly. "Send a message to High Command," he ordered weakly. "Tell them we have awakened something that should have been left sleeping. The galaxy would never be the same."